Hi everybody, welcome to Crowdfunding Countdown. We're going to take a look at every single board game campaign finishing up in the next week. It's the show you've all been waiting for. The same show that's happened for over 3 years. Showing you games that are probably just fine, and that you will convince yourself are going to be the next best thing, and then be disappointed when they arrive at your door. So let's get into the week, but before we do have a sponsor this week. You're seeing that I'm wearing this contraption, and honestly, it's my favorite thing that I picked up from them. Temu is sponsoring the channel. Temu's sponsoring the channel. They decided to send me some free stuff, and I, of course, said yes. What's that free stuff, you ask? Well, I could tell you. One of these is a shoulder corrector, because I spend so long at a computer editing, just hunched over and over, and it's really causing me severe back problems. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to change that and force my shoulders into place over the next little while. So that's a pretty good thing. If you haven't used Temu before, generally I use them for cords, anything that you would get on Amazon. You can probably get it on Temu for cheaper, and it probably comes from the same factory. That's kind of what I think. But I do want to introduce our very special guest, so just give me a second and I'll bring him on. Temu Terry, why don't you come on screen and tell us all about the little treasures that you could get from Temu?
Oh, God. Oh, no. Well, thanks, Chris. I'm Temu Terry, and I've got to tell you about my father's business. Yeah! Oh, boy, am I excited to be here. You want cheap shoes? Temu's got cheap shoes. You want cheap bags? You're going on a trip? Oh, Temu's got cheap bags. Where'd all that other stuff go? I put on my glasses. You want glasses? Well, I didn't get these from Temu, but probably could. You want little lights that turn on when you move under them? Temu's got that too. You want a replica wand without giving money to a turf? Well, Temu, you can get one of these for like $3 when it's on sale, instead of paying $70 and giving royalties to horrible people. Abracadeals! And finally, well, you can get yourself a replica of my head and become the most terrifying mascot to ever see this land. Back to you, Chris.
Wow. Oh, wow. Thanks, Temu Terry. Oh, boy. I bet it would be hot under that mask. You want some deals or whatever? There's the code down below. You can get some money off of $50 or whatever you spend. Save up a list of all the random stuff that you would get. And will Temu pay me for that ad? I don't know, but it's not changing. There's some Terry in my beard. So let's get into the week. Let's see what is happening with this week. Starting off with this one, Moon Bunny. People on my Patreon or people in my Discord were excited about this one. A board game inspired by Moon Festival folklore. Guide your bunny alchemist assistants through the lunar landscape to gather rare Asian herbs and craft the ultimate elixir of life. Alright, so it looks like a little bit of a tile placement game. As you move your little bunny around in certain spots, pick up the tiles and then arrange them in a specific order to get points. 55 Canadian, 39 US, nice. Or the collector's edition, including acrylic tiles, acrylic bunny standees, mooncake squishies. That is 85 Canadian, 62 US. These are the people who made Steam Up as well. Steam Up, a feast for dim sum, which I think looks cool. And I will have to buy. And I will have to try before I buy, in case it is not. But here's how you play. You hop across the lunar landscape, strategically move your bunny across the lunar grid. As you leap from tile to tile, start with the hopping bunny, and switch to the dashing bunny when necessary to navigate the grid effectively. Okay, so I guess everybody has their own hopping and dashing. Gather rare Asian herbs. Acquire precious herbs, each with a unique trait. Grab recipes, so these are basically scoring conditions. Arrange and optimize your workshop, maximize herbs and recipe placement in your workshop to earn points efficiently. Yeah, I want to know how you get points. Offer mooncakes to get powers, but I bet mooncakes are worth points if you don't use them. That would just make sense. Craft the ultimate elixir by the end of the game. Rulebook preview, yes please. Good job. Oh, yeah, only 7 pages. Ooh, bonus turn, take another turn when the recipe is surrounded by herbs in your workshop. That's cool. The bunny hops exactly 3 tiles in any direction, can never go back. Or the dashing bunny moves in 1 line. So there's a little bit of planning there. After you move, wherever it landed, you take the tile and you place that wherever you want, as long as it is touching a previously placed tile. Oh, each tile is 2 sides, herbs, recipes. So very point salad-like, but with tile placement, I'm thinking. But they cannot be flipped. So yeah, each mooncake's worth a point, or you can use it for like additional movements, etc. Point scoring. There are public lounge recipes that you're fighting for. That makes sense. Public objectives. And then private recipes is all like the most of something. So it doesn't really matter the adjacency, right? They can be anywhere. But they'll say matching in 1 row. So some have to deal with adjacency, but most are just placing your tiles. In which case, they said, ooh, you have to really navigate how to place your tiles, and it seems like you really don't whatsoever. So nothing's really stopping you from just placing your tiles anywhere you want willy-nilly, unless you get some of the few ones that deal with rows or adjacent to the tile, right? So some deal with adjacency and other ones, it doesn't matter. How many actually matter? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to assume that's the 4 different ones. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe 6. Yeah. Not a lot. Not a lot deal with adjacencies, so it's more about this maneuvering, tile collecting, and less about tile placement. Which I think is important to look, and it's important to look when you look at the actual things that are put forward. And if you were looking forward to creating a fun adjacency puzzle, you don't have to worry about that because that's not what this game is. All right, so 55 Canadian, and then shipping is going to be, shipping prices are listed in US dollars. Of course they are, because why list them in the same as your campaign page? Might as well list the lower ones that people think they're getting a deal. So shipping is like $30 for Canada, so it's $85 for the standard edition for this game, for me. Or it's $59 for you, $39 plus 20 if you live in the United States, and everybody else, well, you know, it's expensive. $85 for this, I mean, it's the same problem that I had with Steam Up, in that it just seems too simple for me. It just seems like something that I would play once or twice and go, yeah, that was fun, and then not really always go back to the table. I wish there was more adjacency and more like recipes that mattered about how you collect things in the mix. That would add a little bit more excitement to me, but you know what? They've been raised a bunch of money, and maybe it's on the backs that Steam Up is a good game. So I don't know. That finishes Wednesday, September 25th at 9 p.m. If you're interested, check it out. Let's move on to this one, HAVOC Gen Zero, a tactical card game, a neuropunk tactical card game with a genre-defying spatial dimension. Ooh, set on the Terminus, a station at the end of time. Let's see. Ugh, I hate this. I spent valuable time looking at this garbage piece of garbage, and turns out I should have just scrolled down to the bottom to see this little gel pop who also does the stupid $1 pre-pledge. So, not going to cover that. It seemed, from what I saw, overpriced and fine. Is that what you want from a Kickstarter? That's what you would get. Well, let's move on to something better, hopefully. Man, that's annoying. Like, the amount of work that you have to do to keep track of this stuff. Shout out, again, goes out to Vault Boy for maintaining this friggin' list. And shout out to all my friggin' patrons who drop the $1 pre-pledged links whenever they see one in our Discord. It's great, so we can maintain our stance on not giving free publicity to people who do stupid things. But here's one that hasn't, and it has 54 backers, so who knows what it is, but we're going to look at it with more vigor than we did HAVOC. I opened a new browser source for you. I'm so mad. From the Shadows, a 1-to-4 player card game where you choose a unique hero to vanquish classic monsters for their bounties. Okay, so you're going to collect bounties, you're going to kill bounties, you're going to collect treasure, stay healthy, gather opportunities. You can choose 1 to 3 actions on your turn. Attack, eat, or resurrect. Attack, you can attack an active monster with an attack card from your hand. Only 1 attack card can be used each turn. Okay, you can also use an item, right? Item combo, sure. Eating. When your hero's low on health, eating will help you recover. But it's also a great way to manage your hand. Yeah, because you're getting the food out of your hand and you're getting more food into your hand. Discard as many cards as you like, then draw back up. So it's kind of a pass turn. And then resurrecting. When a hero dies, they have to use their action to resurrect. by trashing an attack card from their hand, gaining equal amount of health as the value of the attack card. So you want to stay alive, you're just going to be playing cards to kill a bunch of stuff. When a hero makes a kill, everyone else gains an opportunity, which can be used as bonuses, or for every 5 you have at the end of the game, get an additional 10 points. That's pretty good. All right, let's see the rulebook. Oh, nice, and they have a print and play too. That's great. Or you can get the base game for $25. Yeah, that seems reasonable if this turns your crank. Gain the most victory points. Multiple decks, multiple minions that are going to be popping out. Seems like a pretty simple game. You just have a bunch of cards in your hand. You play attack cards. You want to not deal damage to the monsters if you're not going to kill them, because then somebody else can kill them, I think. Try to kill the monsters that are guarding items, etc. Yeah, I don't think it looks that exciting, to be honest, but $25 is not bad, and then $10 shipping to the US. So, you know, that's okay. $21 shipping to Canada, it's like $60 for this game for me. Not really something that I'm interested in, but if you are, that finishes Thursday, September 26th at 9:33 a.m. Moving along, just to a couple of these things, I want to know what this is. It's a metal bullet dice set with revolver cylinder dice storage. Oh, okay, so I think you would just roll the dice. I kind of hoped that it would, you'd spin it like a Russian roulette style, and it would spit one out, which would be really kind of cool. It looks like it's spinning. You spin, 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 spin. Now you just roll the bullet dice, and wherever it stops, that's the dice. So it tells you a bunch of different dice, which is kind of neat, but I thought it would be a little bit more exciting. But, it seemed kind of neat, so I figured I'd click it. And if you want to turn all of your games into trouble, well, you could get this Gammy Pocky. Roll the dice easily, quickly, and fairly when you play board games. Pop it out. What are you kids doing? Getting into Gammy Pocky! Okay, that's all I want to say about that. Let's move on to this one. Fight Night, a movie debating card game. Clash absurd opinions on movies and pop culture icons against each other in this fast-paced debate card game built for 3 to 10 players. All right, well, there's an issue here, and the issue is it's just a funny card game. Hey! No, but the issue kind of is, I like this concept. I think this concept is one that, you could easily get into if you like pop culture. You draw a prompt, and the prompt says, hey, which movie should be erased from history? But then everybody just has to draw a random card and then debate it on the merits of that card. And so it is more a storytelling game and less a clever responses game, right? Like if you had the freedom to just say which game should be erased from history, I think it would be probably a bit stronger. I don't know, you could play both ways. It's just a bunch of prompts for $25. I don't know why I'm analyzing it at all, because you know exactly if you would be the right audience for this, and probably not. For $25, domestic US, only $5 shipping though, that's pretty good. $30 for this little game. So if you're interested in that, it finishes Thursday, September 26th at 10:59 a.m. Moving along to Spooktacular, a tabletop game of B-movie horror thrills, a nail-biting game of 20 asymmetric movie monsters that play entirely different games. One of them's playing Yahtzee, and the other's playing Hamlet. It's not my joke. It's not my joke. As long as there are witches in there, then I'm into it. I'd be very into it. Okay, I like the premise. You want to murder as many people as you can in the movie theater, and you will be a random movie that's popped out of the screen, trying to eat as many meeples as possible. Direct VHS, $55, 75 Canadian. You get a bunch of cute monsters though. I really do like the blobs as they multiply. Let's go to how to play. Click here to read the rulebook. Yes, please. Earn points as you spook and devour guests, clash with other monsters, and bring your movie to life. Monsters will have a difficulty to make sure that you can play. The theater rooms can hold any number of guests or monsters. It's just a board on which you're roaming around. Some rooms will be canceled. So you're going to be pulling out guests randomly and putting them into rooms. Once a player reaches 50 points, they win. Or the end of the game happens, at least. So you're going to have a bunch of different cards in your deck for your asymmetric monsters. You can play one of them. You can add guests, you can move around, you can spook or devour. So you want to push guests out of the rooms, and you want to eat the guests as well. You're going to get all these different tickets, which I think are going to be worth a random amount of points once you return a guest of each color. Okay, that seems pretty simple. I really like that there are 20 monsters. I imagine they're not that hard to comprehend. I wish that they had the rules of all what the 20 monsters are. Ah, here we go. Click on their image for a full update. Hey, are you listening to me? Killer car. Oh wow, nice. This is robust. This looks nice. Yeah, I like the differences of these monsters. They seem kind of fun. Seem very easy. It also seems very simple, like really low complexity. If you want it, it's $70 US. That would be like $100 Canadian, essentially, to get to the door. And not like quite interested in it for that amount, but otherwise, I think this looks quite nice. So if you're interested in that, it finishes Thursday, September 26th at 2 p.m. Check out all those different monsters, and we're gonna check out Sefirot. It's like Kakarot, but just with a name that sounds like Seth. The award-winning tarot board game returns with improved rules, robust divination tools, and a new tarot-like game mode. Okay, it's raised a bunch, so I'm interested to check it out. This tarot board game looks an awful lot like the Royal Game of Ur. Let's see. It's a mix of board game and tarot divination, both playful and meditative. You choose an intention. So you're just doing a divination together. Choose the Tree of Life or the Star Field. You're trying to match cards together while you are looking at it mindfully. I don't think it's for this audience, but it certainly has found its audience. So there you go. Tell me if I'm missing something. It just seems like being mindful about intentions and trying to divinate and then matching cards together and saying, yes, my prediction did come true. I got a prediction for you. This won't be fun. But if you're interested, that finishes Thursday, September 26th at 4 p.m. We're going to keep on moving to Divide and Conker's Bad Fur Day. A card drafting dice battling game. Battle your opponents using your prepared Conker army. Okay, hasn't raised that much, but it exists, so let's see. There's a few things in here that could be a potential. Number one is the drafting of your battlers is done sort of Seven Wonders Duel style, which I think could be interesting. That seems like a nice way to do the draft that's building up to a different game than Seven Wonders Duel. Then you build your army, fight it out, first to win 2 rounds wins. It's 25 pounds, which is 45 Canadian. Yeah, here's where you're preparing your army with sort of stat boosters and different abilities. Then you're going to roll your dice and try to punch each other in the face. 2 rounds and 7 battles, the game is over. Each player counts their gained victory points through their collected Conkers, tucked Conkers, and 1 veterans. Player with the most victory points is deemed victorious. Yeah, I mean, there's no rulebook, but I assume that's pretty much it. Shipping costs to the UK is £6. Europe, 10 pounds, 12 pounds to US, 15 pounds to Canada. So it'd be 40 pounds, so $72 to just get this retail version to me. And while I think the drafting aspect seems neat and interesting, it just doesn't seem like, again, it is worth the money. But if it does seem that way to you, well, it finishes Thursday, September 26th at 4:30 p.m. Let's move along to something I'm quite excited to check out. Natera, the New Beginning, leads your animal tribe on a wild adventure to discover the remains of a bright post-humanity world. Now, I didn't try this game, but Zach did. A famed contributor to the channel, Zach, tried this game, and he said he really enjoyed it. Yuval, my neighbor and not friend, also tried this game, and he said, yeah, I felt like there were some balance issues, but that was also in January, so potentially those have been worked out. I don't know. This is sort of an asymmetric worker placement where you are trying to build up a section of your own environment. I think what Yuval's complaint was, I think you've all played the bears, and obviously you're not going to have a good time playing bears. That's number one. But number two is that he was just sort of able to max out and do everything. Like he kind of was too good at the game and didn't have enough restrictions on it. But that to me feels like it's just a potential balance thing. I trust that Zach really enjoyed it. This was number 2 on all the games that Zach played at the Niagara Board Game Weekend, which if you missed it, that was back in January. A great time, a fun event. And it's based off of Zach's enjoyment that I am excited to check it out and just look a little bit more into the rules. Oh, I remember too. I remember what they were talking about as well, is that you can do multiple things. So you can kind of develop different sections of the board, and then the higher you are on that section, the more places that open up for you. But you kind of have to specialize in going to certain spots. You can also pick up new characters, but each of the characters, each of the asymmetric clans is going to sort of be better at one of those things, at least from what I remember, from what Zach and you've all told me. Otherwise, standard worker placement with a couple of fun little twists. I think it looks good. Fun art, just about managing and converting resources. Only one pledge level, some pre-stretched deluxe, $119 Canadian. Oof, baboof. 89 US, but it gets you all the wooden resources, etc., etc. I guess economy of scale, that's what you got to do, is just go for the big boy, but that feels like a lot. And then shipping to Canada is 15 to 19, listed in US dollars, of course, as they always do. 18 to 22. Local pickup available, and $5 for extra copies. That's nice. So, you know, I could get this still for $120, but that's just so expensive, you know? Still, I mean, costs are rising. A lot of people have gotten it. It's doing pretty decent. 100,000 Canadian, which I don't know what their margins are. Maybe they made 10 grand out of it. They've really deluxified it, so you just have to decide if you want that deluxified thing. I wish there was a retail copy, but I still think this looks pretty fun. So if you're interested in that, that finishes Thursday, September 26th at 11:59 a.m. Let's move on to this one. Red Ops 5, realistic special ops tabletop and board game. Ooh, tabletop and board game, designed for solo play. However, this doesn't really tell you anything about the game. It says we're using the same game mechanics as both 5150 Dark Planet and Able Baker Charlie. So learn one set of rules, and that tells you how to play the game. Unfortunately, those set of rules aren't on the campaign page. So, I don't know, they're really focusing that it's designed for solo play, which made me click on it. But when it doesn't really give that much information, I don't know why we should pay attention to it. That finishes Sunday, September 29th at 1:12 p.m. Let's keep moving to Water's Edge, Northern Lights, 5th anniversary edition of the Coastal card game with a twist. What's the twist? I don't know. I don't even know what the original card game is. All right, so it's a new Water's Edge. If you'd heard of it before, I had not. But in this one, you basically just get double the rounds, it seems. Because days up north are longer. You're building a town with cards and fish under the northern lights. How does it play? I don't know. Tactical card game, 2 to 4 players. Objective to gain as many points as possible. Points are gained by catching fish and expanding the town. You start with 3 cards. There's 6 cards. Then you get to play a card from your hand, bring a fish to the ice house, move the ice house fish to the town. So just sort of hand management, managing your stuff. There's no real rulebook on the page, or not one that I saw. It's like, hey, yeah, if you want to find out more about our game, just go to the old page. We're not going to tell you much in here. Why should we? I don't have an answer for you. The finish is Sunday, September 29th at 3 p.m. Sorry, Water's Edge. Yeah, I guess you're just playing cards and matching houses. Like, tell me anything about the game. Like, where's this cutout? Or printout, rather. Well, if you'd only put it on your page, then I could have talked about it more, but instead, you did not. All right, let's check this one out. Archwynd, a cards and dice fantasy game for 1 to 4 players. Save the land from the monstrous invasion. Will you be the victorious hero or suffer a different fate? Solo, team, and PvP play. Let's see. All right, I think this is going to be all sizzle and no spice, but we'll see. That basically told me nothing. Each player chooses a character card to begin their adventuring hero. There are 4 characters. They all have an ability. Rogue can steal items from players. Fighter is strong and better at battle. Ranger can scout. Sorceress uses magic to deal damage from afar. Stats similar to role-playing games like D&D. Armor, attack, hit points. Equip your character with weapons and magic. You roll to see if you have an encounter. Then you have a random encounter. Be the last person standing, so it's the Oregon Trail is what it is. It's a non-co-op Oregon Trail. What makes Archwynd unique? Well, you're calling it Archwynd instead of Archwynd. No dungeon master, just drawing cards, using those cards. There are so many games that are like this, right? There are so many games that just rely on you to draw cards and read the cards, but those don't really provide you with that much agency, I find. It's like light hand management. I find that those games are so plentiful out there that it really takes something special to stand by, to stand in its place, to stand out from the crowd. That's what I was looking to say. Unfortunately, I don't think this is one of those things. I think this is one of the sort of standard ones. But, you know, it's a Kickstarter project that they love, so there you go. It finishes Monday, September 30th. If you want to draw cards and then play those cards slowly and then not have any choice on if you have an encounter or not, as you roam the world and have random things happen to you, check it out. I don't think it looks good. Next up, we have Overparked, a puzzle strategy game by Origami, or Origame. Hey, it's almost on its funding goal. You haven't experienced a traffic rush like this before. You're right, we certainly haven't. No one's seen a game like this before. Okay, this is not Rush Hour, which I really thought it was basically Rush Hour. No, it's sort of reverse Rush Hour as you're trying to park all the cars and not move one car through. You rotate the steering wheel to direct traffic into all players' lots, so very Planet Unknown. You then take the traffic and then you add those polyominoes into your area, and you're trying to match sets to complete objective. You know what? I think this really blew me out of the water. I thought this was gonna suck, but I think it might be one of the better ones of the week. Then finally, at the end of the game, you're gonna score 1 point per space for the largest connected vehicle network for each of the 4 colors. Okay, so it's just my city. Objective cards, and then the surrounding trucks. How much are you? 53 Canadian. I think this one will suffer because 42 US, because Planet Unknown exists, but it's a bit cheaper than Planet Unknown. I think it could have a similar feel to it as well. However, for me to get it to my door, it would be like $100, and I think Planet Unknown will be better. But if you're interested in a polyomino sort of game, check it out. I think it will fund, definitely. I should have mentioned this beforehand. I'm filming this early, obviously, because I am currently in Vegas. Running the World Series of Board Gaming. Or, yes, currently. Yeah, that's when this one comes out. That's what I'm doing. But if you're interested in that finishes Tuesday, October 1st at 8:51 a.m. And finally, this week, we have Lands of Galzyr, Dreams and Mysteries. This expansion for Lands of Galzyr, the critically acclaimed open-world adventure game, brings extended personal stories to each adventurer and a host of new stories to explore, competitive or cooperative for 1 to 5 players. I'm going to watch this and we'll talk about Lands of Galzyr, which I have. They sent me a copy, which I have yet to open and explore, so it's useless to you. But I was interested enough to say, sure, you can send me a copy. I think it looks like a fun game if you enjoy reading a book with someone else. All right, yeah, it just looks like more of the same, right? You're going to be exploring Lands of Galzyr, going through this really big storybook. Hundreds of stories waiting for you to explore, and you just decide where you go. I think it'll be a really neat game in terms of sharing and going on this adventure. I don't think the gameplay looks deep whatsoever, because you just are gaining these different stats and trying to solve stat checks, you know? But if you want the expansion, it's only €24.95, 25 euros, coming in $40. Or you can get the full gameplay all in for $140 for Lands of Galzyr, which is a little bundled deal in case you haven't gotten that before. Oh, I do like this. The storybook only shows you the parts you should see at any given moment, just with it being online. That is nice. The app looks really nice. Honestly, looking at this campaign, it makes me excited to dive into it at some point in time. It's just, I just don't have any time. But when I do have time, and somebody to dive in it with, well, then we can go on a little adventure together. A Rolodex of cards, a little library list right here, kind of scares me, though, because I'm forever scarred by Seventh Continent. You move 2 spots, you choose a scene, and you resolve it, then you do skill checks. That's it. You play a set number of rounds with the goal of gaining as much prestige as you can if you're playing competitive or cooperative, and there are rule books there as well, which I have read in the past that look good. Yeah, super accessible. How much is shipping? €9 for the expansion gameplay all in, €15. So if you were to buy the gameplay all in with everything, well, just with the Dreams and Mysteries, after shipping, you're still looking at like $170. I say that for Canada. In conversion for US, it's like, you know, probably $100 US. For a big old story campaign, if you think about it like you're buying 3 books and then some pieces to go along with those books, I don't know. Up to you, but that does finish Tuesday, October 1st at 1 p.m. That's it. That is it for the week. I need to get to sleep, but every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. The pick for me being the thing that I am the most interested in mechanically, and the pick for you being the thing that I think if you got, you would regret it the least. And let's do a little grunt down before we decide. Meh. Horrible. Meh. Oh yeah, these little dice. Meh. Yeah. Weird. Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Nah. Yeah. And yeah. Alright, I think I have a pick for me. The pick for me is going to be Natera New Beginning. I trust Zach, and even though you've all hated it, well, I think it was more just like balance issues, and I feel through testing you can solve those balance issues. You know, I'm not that worried. Plus, I trust Zach, who is my friend and more than just a neighbor. Yeah, I think this looks cool. I think like the inner workings will feel satisfying. I would not pay $119 for it because I am super cheap and it doesn't excite me to that level. But I think out of the week, this is the one that does seem the most exciting, and I'm very happy that it's doing well because I think it looks neat. And then my pick for you, this one's close, but I think we're gonna go with Spooktacular. Spooktacular does seem fun. Like, it's very simple. You're just using your. I would bet this is like a 2 complexity, right? A 1.5 complexity. Even with the 20 asymmetric characters, which make you feel like it is going to be wild and zany, it's not. But I think this would be a great introduction to asymmetry for people who didn't really play a lot of games. And so I think, yeah, this one's also raised about the same amount, and big real goal. So they've crossed their real goal, and that's very exciting. So I think I'm going to give it to them as the pick for you, Spooktacular, and that's it. That is it for the week. I hope you are having a wonderful week. Really, truly wonderful, wonderful. Let me know if you're backing anything. Oh, I forgot at the beginning that Temu also has 3D printer stuff, like 3D printing filament. I got some filament. I have a 3D printer that I still do not know how to use, but they got that too. So, I don't know, maybe it'll be cheaper. Go check it out. But I meant to mention that because I feel like that's more relevant to like a board gaming sphere. I also got some cat toys, so there you go. I think Tato may not have enough teeth to chew things. That's why he's been a finicky eater. Weird. Maybe. But he's 1 year old. Right, buddy? Anyway, we will see you later. You good boy. Hope you're having a great, great day. My name's Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase, but I do have a cat phrase. A cat who's afraid, or a cat fraying the carpet. Either or. He's a sweet boy. Oh, my buddy. Come on. Stick around for the sign-off. That's just how it is. But I'm glad you stuck around. You watching to the very end. You're one of the good ones. You are the most extraordinary human being, and don't let anyone else ever tell you differently. Thanks everybody for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.